Alright everybody, this is 7th Ace, and I'm going to be doing a Vanguard replay analysis for the team of myself and daydrA. This is from the September Open Tournament, and this is the semi-final round against Lily Canine and Kebab King, also known as Space Marine. The live VOD, I'll let this go ahead. The VOD played from the observer point of view. This was a casted game. Will be linked immediately in the description of this video, so you can go ahead and watch that from a neutral point of view to get a full piece on this game. But let's jump right into how I think Overmind and to an extent Kerrigan should be played and how this combination works. First off, I think Double Overlord Cancel is the strongest opening currently for all Zergs. So if you don't know, you build an Overlord with your first initial 125 minerals, and by the time you get a scout off, you can choose to cancel or not cancel a second Overlord. So if you see they're going for expand, which this is a barracks expand, this is Nexus first, you can choose to continue on with pressure. I ended up canceling this Overlord. As you see, there's no Overlord in production, and I only have 16 supply. So I'm going to go single Overlord, Zergling expand. Actually, I took a fast gas this game because I saw a proxy. I believe we have scouted this proxy. We have not. I have an idea that there's a proxy this game because I didn't see this base go down. So I wanted to get some early units out. This is a game with a proxy. I forgot that. That's alright. We're going to see this game get off to a little bit of a rocky start for me. And then we'll talk about the mid-game after that. But let's talk about defending aggression as the Overmind, and to an extent, Kerrigan. But this will mainly be a video. By the way, this is on the patch, 2 patches before Commanders, so there are upgrades, incremental upgrades in the game, but there are not Commanders yet. So that's kind of the patch that's occurred on the late September patch, or early September patch, sorry. So first off, holding aggression. Overmind in particular, but all Zerg, is especially weak to early aggression because Zealots trade really well against Zerglings and Tremors, and Marines can kite them really, really well. It was not known at this time by me, but Banelings actually make an incredible early game defense. Just 2 or 3 Banelings, with one getting a good connection, will completely silence an entire army. For those who don't know, Banelings, or Blightlings as they will be known, Blightlings end up reducing the attack and move speed of units they hit by 50% in a large area. And that's very, very effective in crippling and arming and allowing your Zerglings to get us around and take them out. So, this aggression will be cleaned up. It was not followed upon. It was instead just macroed behind, so it was not any kind of all-in play. However, it did delay this natural base by quite a bit of time. So we're going to see how that plays in to the later portions of the game. I'm going to take a look at our vision as we ping here. If you'll watch the minimap throughout the game, you'll see a ton of pings as daydrA and I communicate constantly about what's going on around the map. And when I get more games with daydrA, probably in the next tournament, I will talk with him, or I will record our first-person comms, kind of to give an idea of what it looks like. So we know there are Marines back here somewhere. We're going to go ahead and take this. The idea of this composition, now that we're 4 minutes in, is to do the following. Have daydrA build a roach ball. Kerrigan, and I think Abathur now, can build a large roach ball. And roaches trade efficiently against most generalist armies. The roach is one of the better generalists in the game. Things that just shoot air and ground and attack. They trade extremely efficiently against a good number of the other generalists. However, they lose in large numbers as high-tech units come out. So you have to support them with other high-tech units. See this early third go up by Space Marine, but it's not going to be an issue. The meta at this time, because I realize this video will become dated at some point, but the strategy itself probably never will be, was to go for early aggression or double base first, followed by air harass, and this was shortly after the rich mineral protection came in. Nice pickoff on the oracles is able to clean everything out. So the idea is to have daydrA have this nice efficient roach ball to threaten bases, threaten armies, stuff like that, to force them to respond effectively, while I counterattack and attack everywhere daydrA is not. So if you watch, and I won't be able to point out every time, daydrA will poke up the right side of the map, here and here. I will swing a counterattack on the left. Or, as you'll see, I'll counterattack this base and this base all game long. That's the idea. As daydrA goes ahead and pings that. So there's the split ping. He's saying he's going to push here, check this base, and push there with Zerglings if it happens. Now, because my army, the orange Zergling army, will not take efficient engagements against any large armies, you have to either take engagements against small armies or take engagements where you'll win due to some kind of other advantage like spellcasters. And you'll see I will start getting defilers here in the next few minutes. daydrA is a fantastic example of stalling. He does a great job of poking units, trading, and then escaping, as I'm coming in with double-pronged harassment with Muta and Zergling to take out this base and do economic damage here. This is just the general style of play that I believe the Overmind should be doing. Now, these got mishotKeyed, and they're going to end up dying, which is a little bit of a shame, but... So at the time, daydrA was making sure to leverage nice upgrade advantages. That's currently not possible, and we'll see if that's possible in the future, but we'll have to see. This base was harassed by 2 more oracles. Did minor damage because daydrA was able to send roaches to defend. Air is this Overmind strategy's biggest problem. Air does a lot of damage because you never build direct spellcasters. Or direct anti-air unless you go Mutalisks. You can set up Hydras as kind of a preemptive measure in case you start facing large amounts of air units, but overall, you're kind of weak to air. So now that I've reached a comfortable 2-base economy, have defilers on the way and out, a hive for adrenal glands coming out, you're going to start seeing this strategy start to come into effect as daydrA just constantly pokes around for efficient engagements to take and then backing off, opening up the map and allowing me to run around and take advantages elsewhere. And I'm not going to be able to point out everything daydrA does because he does it incredibly well. He'll constantly poke in against the siege line, snipe a unit, and walk out. And this affords me the space, as you see both armies over here, to come over here, snipe this base, walk up here, and head towards that base. All while daydrA is constantly harassing here. And that is the absolute crux of this composition, is to just poke one place, attack the other. Threaten this area with an efficient army, force a response out of the other team, and then attack elsewhere with your Zergling. And this isn't limited to Overmind, but it's just best or easiest to execute with Overmind. The important parts, if you're playing the Kerrigan, is not to lose your army without trading. Overmind can afford to trade, but Kerrigan cannot. So you'll see this backup from daydrA. I know the armies are here. I see Protoss. I see Terran. I attack this base. And attack this base. Now daydrA's called for my help because this is a sieged up point. So we're going to see how we engage armies to take them out. Because that becomes a problem. At some point, you'll likely have to engage or you'll lose bases as this base gets picked off. daydrA constantly forces this siege ball out of position The disruptors get caught out of position. I make a slight blunder, but I end up taking out the entirety of the disruptors because they're out of position. daydrA, meanwhile, comes in, throws some roaches, and he's going to kill off a good number of units, and then leave with some roaches. Again, a decent trade. Looking at units lost, daydrA's lost about as many as Lily Canine, and Space Marine has lost a whole bunch of units. Immediately, base goes up, attack the right side. The Zerglings should constantly be on the move to create problems for the other team. This is the crux of Zergling counterattack gameplay, is to use your ally to stall. Where's daydrA? daydrA's pushing this base. He's seen an army out of position. He can push this base now. And even though he'll get flanked and lose a few roaches, the majority of his army is here. So again, he's able to do this counterattack damage as well. That's the threatening part about having a good generalist army, is you're able to basically threaten bases at any point that you want to. So this will eventually get cleaned up. I believe the mutants die instead of the base falling. Static defense, if you're taking outlying bases, is critical to keep them from getting harassed and taken out. Now we see daydrA goes in under a dark swarm. Defilers make this composition happen because it allows the roaches to go from good traders to some of the best traders in the entire game, along with almost any generalist, but especially roaches or dragoons. Dark Swarm reduces damage in the area by 50%, and it's just the best kind of ability you could ever want. It allows such good engagements for the roaches, as this base will end up getting taken out. This base is low, should be taken out later. But notice we're constricting the expansions. They have their 4 core expansions, and then they have these 2 side expansions that they're trying to hold. These disruptors actually end up getting some absolutely disgusting hits and take out all the Zergling, which is a real bummer. If you're playing the Overmind, by the way, I go for delayed upgrades. Not important currently, but if it happens again, if upgrades get re-added, delayed upgrades are generally good. This might be a bit too delayed, but nonetheless. If you're playing the Overmind, you want to be able to throw, in the late game, entire armies of Zergling away. And we're going to talk like 50 Zergling counterattacks into critical locations, natural mining bases, production facilities, things like that. They have to be taken out, and that will take your advantage. If you have enough minerals, which is before these mine out at around the 17-minute mark, you should just constantly be throwing away Zergling and getting good trades out of it. If you get bad trades, it's not good. But if you're forcing armies to respawn because you have 50 Zergling and that's too many for base defenses to take care of, you're able to secure your own bases. You're able to deny their bases, as we're going to go in on an engagement real quick. There goes Dark Swarm. There goes a Plague in the back. And now we're going to let the Plague sit. Real quick, if you're using Plague or Blightling, Baneling, you should just hit them with your DOT spells and then wait for the engagement. Here comes a daydrA. The daydrA flank, and this whole army is now stuck and dead. That's how to make the efficient engagements happen. You must go for flanks. Flank one side with the Zergling or Roaches, attack the other side with them. And additionally, generally the generalists, the Roaches or the Dragoons or the whatever, should be on the side with the Defilers, so the Defilers can shield them because they're more important. But trade your Zergling away where they're forced to pull their army back, and by the time the Zerglings die and they're able to get their army back to wherever they're threatening you, you should already have a new set of Zergling out because they have 20-second build times, 21 seconds, and in a future, if you use the Overmind, in the Commander's patch, currently there is an ability that gives them, or a passive that makes them spawn twice as fast. They spawn in 11 seconds, which is absolutely insane. That is one of the most impressive parts. So you can throw Zergling out, have them all die, and be reinforced in your front line in 20 seconds before your opponent can do anything, and then you could possibly take a 2-on-1 fight. So again, here comes a siege break. We're going to try and break a position of disruptors and diamondbacks, but we found that the units were too heavy. And if both teams have committed to a ground siege style, disruptors, diamondbacks, drop a mutatransition. 12 mutalisks are in production, and they play the same as Zergling, except you can engage onto ground units and pick off siegers. Here comes another 20 plus Zergling. Another 26 Zergling. This area is walled off, so I will take the natural instead here. Wipe out some production and run into the main. As this slow disruptor army tries to retreat. Once I get here, I'm just going to run into the main and cause havoc there. It's not going to do a whole lot because this is essentially mined out, but it's still important. So again, diamondbacks get caught out of position now because they had to deal with problems at home. Mutants are able to pick off the diamondbacks because there's very few marines in the area. And yeah, you just slowly dismantle the enemies by overloading what they can take care of. I will say this is not a particularly APM friendly strat. You need, the more active you are around the map, the better this will be. And I don't like saying it like, oh yeah, you have to have high APM to do this. You just need to be playing more efficiently. Either in terms of damage done or whatever. As mutas end up being expendable once they have reached a certain amount of anti-air. Mutalisks become relatively weak, incredibly weak actually. Take the time to switch back into ground units as I switch into Ultralisks now, and this base gets picked off. Constantly be one step ahead, forcing their transitions after yours. Notice these minerals have not been mined at all, much. These haven't been mined at all, except for a couple long range. These minerals are about half mined out. These 4 bases are the only thing that they've had this entire game. These expansions keep getting pressured, workers killed. Meanwhile, daydrA's had this base for a short time. That's me actually. I've had this base for a long time. daydrA secured its 3rd for a huge amount of this game. And that's what leads to such great advantages. So here comes an engagement with Ultralisks. Ultralisks get confused and start eating roaches. Disruptor balls hit the roaches incredibly hard. Unfortunately, the rebuild on the disruptors did work out before the mutalisks could take them all out, or before we could engage after I took them out with the mutalisks. Again, daydrA now takes the point to counterattack here and counterattack into this base. This base never gets up, despite being built probably 6 times during this game. Mistake, by the way, was engaging without the Ultralisk upgrade for 300 health. That's kind of a great upgrade. But this is really how you do it. daydrA will poke one side. I will poke the other side with the fast mobile army. And then once you take only efficient engagements. You never engage unless it's efficient. If you're forced into a situation where you just have to fight 2 armies head-on, where you don't believe you have the advantage, you will lose, and it will be brutal. But here, we've spread them thin. They're running out of units. Honestly, we should have attacked here, because this is an army of very little, but I guess we didn't see the situation properly. Base goes down. Base is now up, but again, it hasn't been up for that long. We'll see how long it stays. daydrA's able to secure a 4th base. Very, very important. I have 4 bases now, taking a 5th base. As once the mains mine out, you can constrict and finish. As a Overmind, you want to transition into highly efficient units like Broodlords. Broodlord, Corruptor, Defiler style compositions are extremely powerful in the late game with Zergling Ultralisk switches or Heavy Muta switches. But this is a style of play that you have to have. Now, this is, I believe, the final engagement, and you're going to see these Defilers all die. They get confused and locked into place, the others are too far forward. They get 1 Plague off on the Dark Archons, and that's it. However, if you look at army food supply, daydrA's more important army is so far ahead that it's not going to make the difference in the fight. daydrA goes in for the sandwich. I attack from the other side with only a couple ultras. Here come the Zergling now as they just finished producing. Dark Archons get taken out, they get overrun, the game ends. I hope this has been useful. If it has, let me know, and I'll keep uploading more of these as I play more games. I'll do different styles of games, let me know, and I'll keep bringing you Overmind and other Zerg replay analysis and other videos, because I think Zerg is definitely the most unique and hard to play race right now, and just because to get into, I don't want to say Zerg's the hardest to play, I can't really make that judge, but it's hardest to get into because it's the most different from StarCraft. To StarCraft 2 specifically. The other races play similarly. Zerg has to play very differently, and this is the first Zerg team to have success. First Zerg's made it to the finals, first double Zerg team to do anything, so stick with it, and thanks for watching.